back. Thank you for staying with us. Time for Opinion Court. You've already been writing in. Thank you so much for it. In case you haven't started, 22422, that's our SMS line. At Citizen TV Kenya, at Citizen TV News on Facebook, we go by the same names. Please use the hashtag Opinion Court, allowing us to track your conversation and to loop it into our discussion. This evening, we are discussing the scandals surrounding the Devolution Ministry, and in particular its Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru. Should she finally give up the ghost, if you like, and step aside? We'd love to hear from you. Let me reintroduce my panel to you. To my immediate right is Ndungu Githinji, he's a Tetu Member of Parliament. In the middle, Edward Kisiang'ani, our resident political analyst, and across from me, Yatta Member of Parliament, Francis Mwangangi. Mwangangi, I'll start with you. Why do you believe that the CS should take political responsibility for the scandals under her docket?
Already we have a president in the House and in the country. You remember in one of the national interests by the president, there was a list of 170-something government officials. They were asked voluntarily to step aside. Voluntarily to step aside. And they did that, most of them. And if you remember very well, in the lists there were cabinet secretaries. The current situation is not different from that which was done by the president. The second thing is we are talking of almost 1 billion Kenya shillings. Initially, I was among the people who objected the stepping down of the CS Anne Waiguru, because she had said there was no money that had been lost. Later, she confirmed to the country and the world that almost 1 billion had been lost. So this kind of, you say this today, tomorrow you say something else, and things continue unfolding. So I don't think any Kenyan has ever said the minister is corrupt. What we are saying, there is serious amount of money belonging to the public, and for us to do a serious work. And when I talk of serious work, it's not where I'm speaking the same language with Githinji here. And after I'm cornered somewhere, I just lift a phone. Please, can you come and investigate? We want a thorough audit of the ministry and the agencies and that ministry to determine what really happened. And that can only be done if the senior officials of that ministry are not in charge.
Ndungu, is stepping aside an admission of guilt?
In the context of the trend or the history that we have had of government officials stepping aside, it is only to pave way for investigations where allegations have been made by the relevant authority. And this is the point of departure, because many people are now analogizing the situation of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Report, which the President brought before Parliament, with the current situation facing Anne Waiguru. They are not the same. Principally because in that first instance, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission had been doing investigations, had prepared a preliminary report. A further report, detailed report, was in the wings and was going to be issued by the EACC, and the President requested through Parliament that those mentioned in that report step aside so they don't interfere with the investigations. In the case of Anne Waiguru, she is actually the one who blew the whistle on something strange that was going on in her ministry. She was the whistleblower. She is the one who raised the alarm. Now, I have never seen in any country, and Kenya would be the first, where a person raises the alarm, shouts fire, and then is arrested by the police for being an arsonist. We must also delink the difference between somebody raising the alarm, somebody blowing the whistle, and being a perpetrator of the corruption that the person is blowing the whistle for. So this has not been highlighted enough, and Kenyans are being confused to think that they are analogous, that stepping aside in Anne Waiguru's case is the same as the stepping aside of the CSs who are mentioned by the relevant authority, which is the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. And in fact even brought to the floor of the House by none other than the appointing authority, the President of the Republic of Kenya.
Even if that was a significant enough difference, the point is, whether it's the EACC saying it or she herself admitting it, money has been lost. And you have said that, you know, stepping aside is not an admission of guilt. Why is it so difficult to do so?
But it's stepping aside in an instance where you are the person who has discovered that the loss has been made. You have reported to the authorities. The CID is investigating and has produced a preliminary report. But even deeper and more significant and substantial, and this is what Kenyans need to be seized of today, because this is a revelation of huge proportions. That many of these allegations that have been leveled against the CS in her ministry are emanating from the last 4 days, beginning on Tuesday, where the principal secretary appeared before the Parliamentary Accounts Committee. And in doing so, on Tuesday, even unprompted, unsolicited, he presents a document in a very unprocedural manner. He was not, it was not solicited, it was not requested. There was an audit query, a report he was meant to submit. He submits the report on the floor of the committee, which is unprocedural.
You're saying it's
all documents,
is that what you're saying?
Let me finish. All documents are passed through the clerk of the National Assembly, circulated to all the members with questions so that they can interrogate such documents. To distribute a document which was later discovered to be an asset register, to distribute this asset register to the members, halfway through the committee proceedings, the PS says, oh sorry, this is the wrong document, can I retrieve it? It's already the property of Parliament. That's fault number one. Fault number two, and which is substantial and significant. Yesterday, the PS himself, which 2 days earlier he's one who submitted that document, appears before the self-same Parliamentary Accounts Committee and says that document is fake. Now, in parliamentary procedure and in the laws of Kenya, in the penal code, there is an offense called uttering a false document, perjury and forgery.
And
these are criminal acts.
Sorry, I have to interrupt.
These are criminal acts that have to be
investigated. And I believe that you have already started that process. But I do not want to move. I don't want to get distracted from the fact that this is a conversation about the CS specifically. But what you are trying to say is that this is a setup.
Well, if a false document is presented on the floor of Parliament to members of a serious committee such as the PAC, and that information is leaked to the media and ends up on every newspaper, on every front page across the country, condemning the CS, yet that information itself is false and fraudulent, then there's a serious problem. We cannot be a nation which condemns people based on falsehoods and treachery.
But should we not be a nation that says that if every major docket in a ministry seems to have a problem, from NYS to Youth Fund to procurement, that there is a lot of rot? So it is either that this is negligence, it's either about competence, and if it's even about negligence, one could argue to the criminal extent.
What are the problems in Huduma? Huduma has won 8 awards around the world, including the Africa Gold Award, including the United Nations Public Service Delivery Award, which has never happened in Kenya. No public service or institution has ever won accolades to that extent. So are these the problems that we're saying? The National Youth Service has employed 90,000 youth across the country, including in my constituency where I have 1,400 youth employed who are doing nothing. Are these the problems that we're saying that we need to address? Because if they are, then it's politics. People want to stop us from delivering to the Kenyan people.
Prof, what do you think of those responses?
What the MP for Tet is saying is the normal stuff that you hear in the press. People getting defensive on things that they shouldn't. Actually, he's a national leader, so he should not be doing that. He has said that the reason why Anne Waiguru should not step aside is because she was a whistleblower. That doesn't wash, because she has already said she's not responsible. So how did she poke her nose into the activities of her ministry to find out that money was being stolen, if it was not her responsibility to find out how they are buying things.
So kept quiet.
But why? She has already said she's not responsible. She doesn't even know the price of the things that are in her office. So how did she poke her nose there if she's not interested in that? So that's the first thing that we should know. And the people of the Republic, Mheshimiwa, will judge you by your defense. And what you are doing, this is an opinion court. You are going to be judged if you are being mischievous. So for her, she can say that. She can also defend herself. But what is critical here is this: if I were you now ask me, I'm sure you say that she should step down. I think I will support that position that she should step down, but not for your reasons. She shouldn't step down because the Jubilee administration has lost the war on corruption.
I don't agree.
No, wait, I'm speaking.
But I don't agree.
Yes, you don't have to agree.
Yeah.
It has lost the war on corruption. There are so many other activities that are going on in this country. Anne Waiguru should just stand in public in the middle of Nairobi town and ask those who are condemning me, throw the first stone.
Who is with us?
Yes, throw the first stone. Because she epitomizes, her ministry epitomizes what takes place in this country and which people don't know about. Look, we have, who has been taken and named in the KQ problem? Who has been named in the Mumias Sugar graft? Who has been named in the Kenya National Examination Council where exams are being stolen, we don't know how much money they are making, and then nobody takes action about it. So now, Jubilee realizing that, look, we have lost this battle, we need to sacrifice one person. How many other Jubilee people are corrupt and they are doing these things in the middle of the night, and then they wake up in the morning and become saints? They say Anne Waiguru should go, like the ones who are talking today. So for me, Anne Waiguru should not go, just to prove that I'm not alone.
Now for the professor, wait. I mean, for the professor to say that, you know, how many Jubilee people are corrupt, is if corruption is a Jubilee disease. When did corruption? Corruption is a human. Professor, corruption is a human condition. If you want to eliminate corruption 100% on the planet Earth, you eliminate humanity. This is a fault of the human condition, and only through strong institutions, through continuous training, continuous education, continuous civil training, do we get rid of, minimize corruption in the psyche. We have to have it. It must be more confirmed what I've said about it. But you're saying it's a Jubilee thing. It's not. Even code is full of corruption.
I mean, you have executive authority to take care of the country, so you must give direction.
You
Indeed.
must also allow another panelists to speak more.
My very able chairman, relax.
I'm very relaxed.
And by the way, don't even talk about cold because they are not here. They do not have a representative here.
I know that.
But Anne, Kenyans know very well. Immediately the then, and I think he is still the one, Dr. Githinji was appointed Director General of National Youth Service.
Yes.
Look at the manner in which he was appointed. Nobody had a problem, although the previous occupant, there was an issue within a section of society. But within a few months, the minister herself comes to the media, and that clip can be played for Kenyans to see. She appointed somebody who was tasked to be the head of procurement, the head of money, the head of everything in NYS. And within a month, a certain and a serious fraud is committed. Now, what can you explain to Kenyans? In this case, Anne Waiguru, I think I'm not accusing her of any corruption, but I'm saying ethically, after what has happened and what continues to be fed to Kenyans on a daily basis, not forgetting the issue of youth fund. We know there are things which are unfolding.
Yes.
I think it is only fair, ethically,
But
Let me pose the question.
very glad. Wait, I want to talk to his ethics.
I think you will want to respond to that. The question is this: is holding public office about more than just, you know, not being guilty? Is it also about, you know, having public trust?
I want to talk about the ethics of
public trust is a question of ethics as well.
Ethics and morality are all part of the same game in public service. Chapter 6, absolutely. So when we're talking about ethically, how you know, we must own up to, it's like saying, and this is a matter close to members of parliament's hearts, we are patrons of the CDF in our constituencies. How many MPs have you seen who have cases? Who have cases of you know, they can't account for monies within their CDF? Why are they still holding their seats? Why don't they step down and resign? Because they're talking about ethically.
Perhaps they should.
This is the question.
Yes,
but if they feel, hang on, okay, ignore that. No, what I was saying, I mean, the reality is that the patron of CDF does not sign any checks. We don't sign. We don't. There's a chairman. There's a fund manager. We don't sign checks.
But
we don't.
Lead a public office.
The committee. Hang on.
To lead a public office,
Let me finish.
We must move along.
Let me finish.
We must move along, sir, because we're running out of time. Maybe you can incorporate in your answer. To hold public office, is it about more than just saying, look, I'm not the one who signs the checks? Is it also about public trust? You're dispensing those duties on behalf of the Kenyan public.
And we must be careful to be a country that is democratic and not a country based on mobocracy and mob rule. The issue is this: if we say that we are talking about ethics and morality and so on, and yet a person has no culpability of any corruption or any misdemeanor or crime within the office that they hold, then it behoves the public also and the people out there not to cast aspersions based on hearsay, rumors, and malicious intent. Because what will happen? This country will descend into a Salem witch hunt, which we had in the 1800s. Let me finish. Where you know, the proof of being a witch, you say, oh, that person is a witch. How do you know he's a witch? Burn them at the stake. If they don't burn, they are witch. What are we doing?
I have a question.
That's what we're doing.
I hold you in with a lot of respect.
Thank you, Prof. I do you too.
Yes, I want you to answer.
Mutual respect society.
You have said that she was a whistleblower. I think I've diminished that. But then,
no, you haven't.
How fundamentally different is one Anne Waiguru from Charity Ngilu, or Engineer Kamau, or Kazungu?
Very fundamentally different.
Because I'm asking this.
There is no EACC report implicating.
Don't trivialize my question.
I am not. I'm answering it.
Yes, you must answer it with the proper data. Because
what do you mean data?
This guy,
the EACC report.
Gil, for example, was accused of certain things, and by virtue of just being accused, you can't hold that office because the public no longer trusts you.
But accused by whom? By whom?
Then she was sent home.
By whom?
So,
by the media, by a malicious politician, or by the institution that is charged with that responsibility?
791 billion shillings. No. Million shillings is not a small thing.
Who is making the accusation? Is it the institution charged with the responsibility of doing the oversight?
It's
the EACC? Is it the CID?
By the way,
is it the DPP?
We need to state clearly here.
Hang on, I'm finishing.
No.
Let me finish.
Yes,
no, I'm not misleading. I'm giving you facts. You see, I'm sorry, if in this country giving people facts is misleading, then we're going nowhere. The fact is that if the EACC has a report on you and is implicating you in corruption, then you're under investigation by the relevant authority, not trial through the media or trial through some political process.
Let it be known. Out of the 170 something cases which were brought, it is only the Minister of Devolution that has confirmed that almost $1 billion. And that is what the minister is confirming to us. There has not been independently, there has never been independent investigation, in my view.
CID.
Okay?
CID has a report.
CID, no.
CID
is somewhere where you can
please,
CID,
we must wind up. I want to come to you very quickly, all of you, with some quick final questions. One, Prof, is it time the president wades into this one and decides to take a decision on her behalf if she chooses to stay in office? And if you would, while answering that, what does it cost the Jubilee administration every day that CS Anne Waiguru remains in docket while scandals continue to unfold?
Just quickly, the president can act. I don't know what he thinks of this situation, but he has his own constitutional right to act. Maybe he thinks different, but merely because Anne Waiguru has been mentioned adversely in a situation where money has been lost, she should be the first one under Article 3 to defend the Constitution. That now, because my integrity has been brought to question, let me step down. So for the purpose of the Constitution, so she's the first one. But if she doesn't do it, again, the president should protect the Constitution by relieving her of her duties. But I would like to say that that is not where the debate should be, Anne. The debate should be, even when she steps down, what happens? We shall have another officer who will call in the EACC that Mheshimiwa Tetu Githinji is talking about. She was told that you withdrew money as much as 12 million shillings and then left it overnight in a house. So now we are advising you never withdraw a lot of money and keep it in a house, because you came back in the morning and it had been stolen. This is not what EACC should be talking to Anne. It shouldn't be the advice. I'm just finishing. It's not the advice that it should be giving Anne Waiguru. Yes. But because even EACC is moribund, it has actually become moribund because there are no commissioners, and those are the actual stakeholders in the EACC. I don't think that that is the kind of institution that the Tetu MP can quote on this national television. Right.
Mo, your final remarks, and do you believe that it is costing? This is sort of, you know, what can I say? It's like you're shooting yourself in the foot. That's at least what the public conclusion seems to be by holding her, by keeping her in office. That's what some would want us to believe anyway. Do you think this is costing you? Every day she stays in office, is it costing Jubilee? And your final
my advice to the president is to stick to his guns. We are running the government well. He has ministers in office who are delivering service. Anne Waiguru in the devolution ministry is delivering service. He has delivered service to the Kenyan people through the Huduma centers, the National Youth Service Employment Program in our constituencies and many others. We want to roll that program out to every constituency in the country, 300 by the end of next year. We need to proceed to, run that ministry professionally and efficiently as it has been done in the past. We will not bend to politics because this is a political scheme. It's a machination.
And you don't think it's costing you politically?
Politics is politics. If people are creating this scheme to damage the government by removing Anne Waiguru using false accusations, tomorrow it will be another CS. Rotich will be next, Kaisari will be next. It is a game. We know the game. We'll fight it, and we'll expose those people who are perpetrating this game, especially the brokers and the politicians who are aligned, and even people within our committees in parliament.
Mwagange, final view.
If Anne Waiguru is innocent, let us step aside. Not resigning, let us step aside. If she thinks there is something she knows, let us stick to our guns and remain in the office. That is my advice to her. The other thing is, corruption is a national disaster, and I agree with our leader in parliament. That is Andrew Ndwele. It needs to be declared, and everyone has to move as fast as possible to cover it.
Bottom line.
The bottom line is that whether Anne Waiguru withdraws, steps aside or resigns, her resignation or her stay in parliament, in government, cabinet cannot damage the Jubilee administration beyond where it is. It is damaged. It is completely damaged.
Personally, Anne, I want to say bottom line. Last comment is that the PS Mangiti has abused parliamentary privilege and process, and must be held to account. He must be responsible for uttering a false document.
Why are we not applying the same zeal?
He must be held to account for uttering a false document in a parliamentary committee. Remember, under Article 125 of the Constitution, parliamentary committees have the same powers as a high court. He was under oath, he perjured himself, he uttered a false document, and he's dismissed the character and reputation of his ministry and his cabinet secretary.
And that's where we wind up. Opinion Court will read your feedback a little later. We're back with more news.